So, it's been 2 months since I last uploaded. And I had a goal for 2021 to upload more consistently, which means my next video should come out in July, maybe August. Yeah, I think I'm gonna dump that goal for uploading more instead. That makes more sense. Okay, but let's just cut to the chase. What the hell just happened? Why have I just been gone for 2 months? What's gonna happen with this YouTube channel moving forward if I can't even upload one video in 2 months? That's yeah. All right. So what happened? Well, this channel has been in a weird place because I do want to upload videos to this channel. I think about it all the time. The only issue is I haven't been able to figure out what I wanted to upload to this channel. I don't, I want my content and my channel to have a message and a meaning and like an aspiration. I suppose it's just best summarized. I want it to have a message. I want it to help people in some way. But what way exactly? I don't know. My channel started out. Well, I thought it was supposed to just be like a productivity channel. But then I did a video on my experience with the modern educational system, and I did some book reviews, and I did a bunch of other random shit. So that didn't work. And then I had this hypothesis that maybe I'm just sharing with you my thoughts. I'm just letting you in to my head, and I'm just bringing you into all of my hobbies and myriad of interests. Well, the question is then, why didn't I ever want to make a video on bonsai or botany? So that doesn't make sense. And then I just really tried to figure out, okay, well, if I want to make a video, I kind of actually want it to mean something. And I had no idea what that was supposed to be. But I think I do now. And I can summarize it best in this sentence. I want my channel, and I want to help people achieve their most distant ambitions. And whether that's in their careers or otherwise, I wanna give people the tools necessary to achieve everything they want to achieve and to reach their goals. You see, and that goal and that message, that it has its core in this fundamental belief I have that humans as a race and as individuals haven't even gotten close to its potential. We are far, far from it. And I believe that everyone has in them just an enormous amount of dormant potential, unrealized potential. And I want to help bring that out. And this belief that I have is why I believe that, which is why I think that octupling my income in the next 7 years is only extremely difficult rather than just plain impossible. I actually believe it's possible. I think it's going to be ridiculously hard, but I think it's possible. And that's because I have this belief in just an insane amount of potential, with not just within myself, but within everyone. And so that's the message. That's what this channel is going to be about moving forward. I'm going to try and help you achieve your most distant ambitions, whatever they may be, and realize and claim back some of that unrealized potential. I'm not going to be so arrogant as to say I'll ever be able to make you reach your potential, because I don't think we'll do that in my lifetime or many lifetimes to come. Some of the most extraordinary things humans have done as a race are going to the moon and the Olympics. I mean, God, those individuals just look like peak performance. But the scary thing is that to someone who competed in the Olympics 30 years ago, something like vault jumping, it's just gotten to an entirely new level. And the things we do today would look like superhuman abilities 30 years ago or 50 years ago. And so I don't even dare imagine how the world's going to look in another 50 years. It's an incredibly motivating and uplifting belief to have. And I want to share that with you, and I want to help you take advantage of that. But how's that going to look in practice? I mean, that's pretty vague. What does that have to do with a YouTube channel? How do I do that? And so, I'm not an expert on this subject. I mean, I'm 23, and I haven't reached my own ambitions. So I'm hardly someone who can just go out and share my advice with you and pretend that I have all the answers, because I don't, obviously. Even though I would love to just give away advice. I mean, I don't have the authority. I don't have the experience to back that advice up. I can't. We wouldn't have any reason to listen to that advice, even though some of it may actually be good. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to bring you along on my journey from now to success in its various forms, to reaching my various goals and aspirations, to octupling my income in 30 years. I'm going to bring you along on that journey. I'm going to show you everything that I learn and fail at along the way. But it's not going to be a vlogging channel. I'm not going to start vlogging. Instead, I'm just going to summarize and make all my lessons easily digestible. I'm going to bring you into my head for the decisions that have to be made along the way, the considerations that are essential. I'm going to bring you along for the failures. I'm going to tell you what I learned from the failures, and I'm going to bring you in to see what we learned from the successes, and hopefully we're in a debate and learn together along the way as well. I'm going to bring you in and show you practice used in theory. I'm gonna show you how they differ from each other, even though in theory they shouldn't, and show you what actually has the most effect in real life. And that's going to take some various forms. But the most fundamental part of that is going to be defining what are my aspirations. Because if I'm going to take you along to reach them, then you also need to know what they are. So right now I have 3 aspirations, 3 goals, 3 projects that I'm pursuing and that I want to make successful. I have my career and my job. I want to get far in that over the next couple years. And I'll bring you in on the decisions I make along the way, the justifications for those decisions, and all the logic behind. I have this YouTube channel that I want to grow, and then I want to reach a certain amount of people, and then that I actually want to hopefully start a business from. But for the next while, I'm going to bet on the hope that creating quality content consistently will grow my channel organically. If I provide value, I'm betting that the channel will grow on its own. Now, if that turns out to not be true, well, then we're going to start going into some of the behind the scenes of, well, what do we do? What do we change? What buttons can we press to make the channel grow, to reach the goal I set for myself? But the third one is a really big one. Photography. This is going to be the thing we're going to be focusing on for the next while. And success in photography is kind of abstractly defined. But here's why it's my third project. About a month ago, I bought a camera that cost around $1,600, and I did not need a $1,600 camera. I have a phone with a good camera. My fiance has an older DSLR camera that we could easily use. I am not at a skill level as a photographer. I'm a beginner photographer. I cannot justify having a $1,600 camera right now. So it was kind of an impulse buy, but not really an impulse buy because I thought about it for a while. But I need to be able to justify having bought that camera. And I'm going to do that by getting good enough as a photographer that I can actually use, that I can justify having a $1,600 camera. But that's still very vague. When is a photographer good enough to have a fairly or a decently expensive camera, like a semi-professional enthusiast, high level enthusiast camera? When are you good enough to justify that? And that's a hard one to define. You know, it also depends on how much is $1,600 worth to you. But I've decided to combine it with my aspirations for my career and an interest of mine, which is the commercial aspects of a business. So I'm going to combine photography and commercialization by starting a photography business. And when I've earned back the $1,600 I spend on this camera, then I'll judge my skill level to be good enough. Then I'll say, well, okay, it's paid itself off essentially. So now it's justified having bought the $1,600 camera. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And you know, being able to earn $1,600 with photography also warrants a certain degree, a certain skill level. Now $1,600 is you know, a lot of money to spend on a camera, but it's not a lot of money to earn with a business. And it's just gonna be it's just gonna be a side hustle to start off with. But here's the goal for 2021 now. I'm going to start a photography side hustle business, and I'm going to earn $1,600 with it before the year is over. And I'm going to bring you in and show you how to start a photography business and how to make a successful side hustle with photography. But hopefully the lessons can be applied to other hobbies and other kinds of businesses. And I think that's going to be really exciting. So this isn't going to be a photography channel. This isn't going to be a new Peter McKinnon. I'm not going to do photography tips. I'm not going to do vlogs of photography tours, trips. And I'm not going to... I'm going to give you advice on becoming a better photographer. Instead, I'm going to give you advice on starting a side hustle and a business. And photography is just a medium we use to start this business. And I think it's going to be really interesting. Now, we're going to start discussing, in this video right now, we're going to discuss some of the most fundamental things about starting this business. And then in the next video, we're going to go into more details about some other things. And throughout the next couple of videos, we're going to really define, okay, what are the goals? What's the budget? How are we going to go for this? How are we going to break into the market? But some of the most fundamental things are going to be covered right now. So we have a series of challenges. First, the market's most likely, I don't actually know, but it's most likely fairly saturated, meaning we need to find a way to break into the market. We need to figure out what's the best way, what's the quickest way, what's an efficient way of getting business. We need to get my skill level to a point whereby I can actually justify charging money for pictures. And we need to figure out what we're actually selling. And I have hypotheses and ideas for all of these, and we're going to cover them now. So, what are we selling? Well, photos, I guess. Yes and no. in a perfect world, I would love to sell pictures as an art. I would love to sell pictures as decoration and as a product, and go take awesome pictures and then have people just buy them. That would be absolutely amazing. But I have a sneaking suspicion that, like in the art world, photography and pictures are valued much more on who took them than the quality of the picture itself. And so that means if you want to sell pictures at a decent price, you're probably going to have to need a reputation and a brand behind you. And you're also going to have to take really good pictures, which is not at the point where I am right now. The other option, I mean, there's a couple options. Obviously, there's something like stock photos as well. But ideally, I'd love to sell pictures as a product. And we're going to transition into that later on in the business, hopefully. But to start off, I think it's going to be a lot easier to enter the market by selling a service. By selling photography as a service and videography, I suppose, as a service. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means selling hours. It means I'm a photographer. I have a certain skill set. And it means I'm paying people, or people are paying me rather, to get access to that skill set. People want a picture taken of something, and they pay me to take the picture for them. And that's selling pictures as a service. Whereas pictures as a product, I decide what I'm taking pictures of, and they purchase whatever I decide to take pictures of. It makes sense, but it's just kind of hard to describe. But selling photography as a service is basically taking headshots, company photos, event photos, wedding photography if anyone's willing to pay for that, family pictures. It all makes perfect sense. The reason I imagine that entering the market there is going to be a lot easier is because I kind of have a way to enter the market there, and it's all based on this interesting thought I had about photography as a service and how that whole industry, or rather the market, kind of cycles and gets pushed upwards. So an established photographer is going to have consistent incoming business, and at some point, since they're selling a service, they're going to run out of time in their calendar. They're going to run out of hours in the day to sell, which means that they're going to have to start picking and choosing the jobs that either they're most interested in, or that pay, or the more natural choice, the projects that pay the most. Which means all the low-paying jobs are going to be sorted out by the professionals, the established photographers, and so they're going to have to go for the new guys, the noobs, the newcomers, the beginner photographers, the beginner businesses. All the low-paying jobs can go to the new guys like myself, which means to get into the market, to break into the market, I can do that by undercutting the competition. Now, the interesting thing is then, as the newbies get more established, they're going to get more business, meaning they're going to move up the ranks, and their calendar is going to fill up, and they're going to have to start picking and choosing. And then the new guys come back in, and everyone kind of gets pushed upwards, which is really interesting. And then at the top, I imagine that photographers kind of filter out and start trying to sell pictures as a product instead, because I think that's what most photographers that do this business probably want. At least a lot of them. Or they're going to start doing like ridiculously high-paying jobs, like commercials for big brands, worldwide, international brands and companies, and pictures for them. Really, really, big gigs, becoming media companies essentially. So that's actually a really interesting aspect of selling hours, selling yourself as a service. It really makes it easy for newcomers to come into the business, which I find extremely fascinating. Now, even if I try to undercut the competition, no one's going to pay me for pictures if I can't actually demonstrate that I'm going to be able to deliver what they want, the quality that they want. So I'm also going to need to build up a portfolio, that I'm going to need to build up case studies. I'm going to need to be able to show them an array of pictures I've taken and be like, I can take pictures like these that you want me to take. I can take the pictures you want me to take because look at these other pictures I've taken. Now you can feel comfortable and safe in paying me to do this for you. So that's going to be the second hurdle of kind of breaking into the market, where you need to build up a portfolio. And now I think I mentioned this earlier, but the biggest challenge right now is that I'm still a beginner photographer, and I'm not capable of taking like amazing pictures, and that needs to change. I need to be able to get to a skill level where I can justify charging for my photos. I need to be able to get to a skill level where I can actually have a portfolio I can show to people. And I have some ideas about what areas I need to improve on, like composition and actually some of the basic things. All the technical aspects of the camera I kind of feel like I've down, but the more artistic things, the thing that, like the look in the eye, I don't have that as a photographer. And my hypothesis is that those are the areas I need to improve on. But that's a hypothesis. And spending time improving on areas that don't need improving is just a waste of time when I have a limited amount of time to make this business successful. So we need to find my baseline. We need to figure out, what's my skill level at right now? Where do I need to be? And then how do I get there? So how do we figure out where I am right now? Well, the easiest way is just go out and take a bunch of pictures and pick the best ones and look at, okay, what needs to improve, have other people rate them and ask them, what do you think of this? Now, I'm going to try and combine that with building my portfolio at the same time. You see, Canon is running a challenge in Europe right now to take the best picture with the theme light in the dark. Now, I have no chance to win this competition. It would be sweet to win, but there's no way in hell I'm going to win. Instead, I'm still going to compete. I'm going to take the best pictures I can, and I'm going to submit them to the competition. And it's going to be a lot of submissions. I don't expect to get feedback, but I'm going to be able to, from the experience of taking the pictures and from looking at the pictures afterwards, I'm going to be able to judge what areas I need to improve on. I'm going to be able to find my shortcomings, and then we can make a plan to fix those. And so that's my next step. The next video is probably going to be after I've submitted my pictures to the Canon Redline Challenge. And we're going to look at what areas need to improve. We're going to make a plan to improve on those areas. And then in some other future videos, we're going to start laying out a budget for 2021. When do I want to earn how much money? What's the goal for each month? We're also going to be talking about building a portfolio and building my brand. Should we have a website? What about stock photography? What about selling stock photos? That's passive income. Wouldn't it be a great idea to utilize that as well? What do other professional photographers have to say on the subject? All of that is going to be coming up in the next couple of videos. And throughout June, there's going to be a lot of preparing to start earning money. And I expect that July is going to be the month where I want to get my first paying job. And I look forward to building this business. Now remember, all of this is going to be about starting the business. We're not going to go into the nitty-gritty of taking pictures. We're going to go into the nitty-gritty of starting a business. And I think that's really exciting. And I don't think there's a lot of content like this on YouTube. I don't think there's a lot of content of people actually just starting a business and showing you and taking you along the way and letting you just learn from the experiences along the way. So I'm really excited to do this, and I really hope you'll come along for the journey. Now, if you don't like the direction this channel is taking, well, that sucks. There's nothing you can do about it because it's gonna happen. But I really hope to see you in the next video, and I look forward to making more videos. And so thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.